Hi guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about, do you need a college degree to become a medical coder? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. I have been a medical coder for over 10 years. I really love sharing the things that I know with all of you. So I hope you'll take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and at the end, if this video helps you, I hope you will share it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. The question I get asked a lot is, do I need a college degree to be a medical coder? The answer, in short, is no. You do not have to have a college degree or any type of college education to become a medical coder. All you have to do is get certified either through the American Health Information Management Association or the American Academy of Professional Coders. I will be leaving both links to these wonderful organizations down in the description box below so that you can do your research to see which association is right for you. I always recommend doing the research and looking around in your neighborhood, in your area, to see what medical coding credentials companies are asking for. Now, a lot of times you will see that they will say either AHIMA or AAPC, right? Credentials are accepted. So it really is up to you. There is a difference in the structure of the two organizations, but these are the two major medical coding association powerhouses all over the world. So be sure to do your research and find out which association is right for you, okay? But the original question being, do you need a college degree? No, you don't. Do some people go to college for this? Of course. If they are pursuing like an associate's degree, this associate's degree program is only through the American Health Information Management Association. It is called the Registered Health Information Technician. If you go to one of AHIMA's approved programs, in which you can find a list of approved schools on their website at ahima.org, if you go and you look and you see that you went to do the associate's degree program and you look at your local college and they do have an approved AHIMA program, RHITs are wonderful in the fact that they get trained as leaders and they are usually like the leads or maybe they're auditors. They have different functions as RHITs, okay? There's a lot of administrative duties as well, but they do a lot of the hands-on medical coding, okay? If you are pursuing a higher degree, like a RHIA, which is a Registered Health Information Administrator, also through the American Health Information Management Association, this is, of course, a bachelor's degree, and this is more for the people who are on the executive floor. These are people who are running hospitals as well. I mean, they're running whole departments. Their primary function is to be the captain of the ship. They are the ones that are doing all of the administrative side. They're not really doing a lot of medical coding, okay? They're mostly there for just being the leader, basically. So if that is what you want to pursue, then that's great. If you want to go through a college program, because for the CCS, the Certified Coding Specialist, also with the American Health Information Management Association, you can go through a college program. They do have the program online with AHIMA, so you can either choose to go to a school or you can go to the program online. If you go to AHIMA's program online, it is a lot cheaper than going to college. However, if you go to college, it's going to take a little bit longer for you to get through the school. But with college, of course, you're going to get that much more detail. And some people need that. And some people, that's how they best learn. So it goes back to, how are you going to learn? Now, I would recommend that if you are not sure if medical coding is right for you, I would recommend that you either go through the online program or through AAPC's online program, because both of them have online programs. And I will leave the link for AHIMA's down in the description box below because it's a little hard to find. If you're going to just check it out and see, it's better to spend a fraction of the cost than actually having to go to a college program. Because as you know, with college programs, it's going to be a lot more money. There is tons of places to find funding. Okay, I've done a video before about where to find funding for schooling. There's a lot of programs out right now because of the pandemic. I encourage you to look in your area. Please don't send those questions to me because every area is different. But there are certain states that are, having different programs for like workforce to change your career now because of the pandemic. So I encourage you to check out your workforce office, your local workforce office, because that's where I went through to get funding for my schooling, okay? I didn't have to pay out anything. I only had to pay for part of my certification exam, and that was it. So all I had to do was just promise to get through the program and to find a job in the field that I was trained in. So that was what I did. And it's been 10 plus years and I'm here. And I love it every day, you know, but it's the amount of money that you spend on the school is entirely up to you. I would recommend strongly that if you're looking at trade schools, that you be very cautious, because we're all adults here. And we have seen and heard horror stories about how sometimes trade schools, you know, get a little bit, well, they took all your money and, you know, now you have a debt to pay back and you don't have a job to show for it or no certificate to show for it. So please make sure that you're doing your vetting appropriately when you are going through these programs, because it's your name at the end of the day. And it is a commitment. If you are choosing to go to college, that's great. If that's the road that you want to go on, I will say that it is more expensive to go the college route. You do get a lot more knowledge, of course, but what you learn in college, you can also learn on your own. If you don't have the discipline or don't feel like you have the discipline, then maybe college is right for you. But I will say that if you are committed, that the drive to do this will be there, okay? And if you do this on your own, great. You know, if there's some people who independently study for the certification exams and they take the entry-level certification exam for either association, and they go along just fine, and they never had to spend money on college or on a trade school or anything, and they just studied it on their own. I do have a video out about that as well, what to study independently to be a medical coder. So it's entirely up to you, however you want to do this, but no, you do not need a college degree. We do very well as far as like the labor. You know, this is a growing field. It's going to continue to grow. Whether people are college educated or not, certifications hold just as much weight in this field. Okay, so it's not about, well, you know, I have to have a degree in order to move up. People who have the CCS or the Certified Coding Specialist do quite well, because this is the gold standard of medical coding credentials. This one credential says that you can code both inpatient and outpatient, and that carries a lot of weight, you know, in the real world. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's your choice on what you want to do as far as like continuing your education or doing all of the other college courses. Some places that I have seen do say that they do need you to have some class or whatever in anatomy, physiology, and medical terminology. If that's where you're applying and they need that, then that's something that's different, but it's not on all of them, okay? So there are some that they ask that you have knowledge, it has strong base knowledge of anatomy, physiology, and medical terminology, because you really do. That's the way that you're going to be able to understand the medical documentation. This is medical documentation. This is not just, oh, they're just checking boxes here and there for diagnoses. This is that you have to comprehend what you're reading. And in order to do that, you got to know medical terminology. And if you ask me, well, how do you learn medical terminology? And there's so much. I always tell you guys, learn your prefixes, your suffixes, and your root words. When you learn those little tiny parts, you can context clues the rest of it together, okay? So that is something that you should think about. And always try to learn things in blocks, okay, little chunks, because trying to overwhelm yourself with trying to learn everything all at one time is only going to discourage you, okay? You never want to get discouraged, because this is a lifelong learning process. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So you have to make sure that you keep your endurance up and you stay focused on your studies. And if you are studying independently, great. But make sure that you are getting those practice exam books. Make sure you're getting the workbooks for coding, so that way you can have some practice as well. You need to work on your speed. If that is what you are doing, if you're prepping for the exam, work on your speed. Make sure that you are able to get through the documentation quickly. Don't overthink. Overthinking is a huge killer of dreams. You know, it really does. When you start to overthink it, it just ruins everything. You know, you just don't. Overthinking is a buzzkill. Honestly, you know, it is a buzzkill because it can discourage people whether they know it or not, you know, and you don't want to be discouraged, okay? But you don't have to spend a lot of money to become a medical coder, okay? If you have the drive and you can do it yourself, you know, like I said, I have that video out about what to study. You can also do your research and see which exam you want to sit for, and then go to their exam requirements and look and see what it is that they are going to test you on. So that may help you. What else can I say about the subject? Other than that, it's a lot to learn. If you go to college, whether you go to college or whether you go to a trade school or you study on your own, a lot of people still have that same, they're not as confident feeling. So it just depends on if you want to spend a lot of money to have that feeling. Because even going to college, it's not always going to guarantee that you're going to feel confident when you're walking in there, okay? That really is on you. This whole thing that we do and that we learn is on us. When I went to trade school, I was literally sat in front of a computer and I went through a program online and said, here, learn. There was no classroom instruction. We had a coder who would come in maybe once a week and do a seminar and just talk about coding, and that was it. But there was no detail to it. So it really does depend on where you're going. If you're looking to wonder if you should do the higher education or not, you know, there's not always a guarantee unless you're really interviewing the person that's doing the teaching. Make sure, if you do, make sure that they're certified. Sometimes I've seen them do it. There was a trade school that the instructor was not certified and they hadn't been coding in the real world for a long time. So I knew even before that doesn't sound very confident building to go to this school, but she was basically proctoring from a book. And that's what happens sometimes. This is sort of the reason why I created my channel, and just to sort of answer these questions. I do have a Patreon channel where I do talk about coding exercises that I break down and things like that. I give you my rationale and how I'm looking at it as a veteran coder, what my rationale and my reasoning was for getting to these things. So not that I'm trying to make this video an ad for my own Patreon channel, but it all depends on where you're learning as well. Okay, what I have learned and what I pass on is stuff that I've spent time learning. I spend time on the weekends reading the New England Journal of Medicine. That's what I do, you know, and stuff that has nothing absolutely to do with my clinics at all, I will still read, because this is a lifelong learning process. You never know what you're going to have to learn in medical coding. And there's people that know about bugs. And if they work in infectious disease, they understand the whole pathology of people who have infections that are related to any kind of insects or something like that. You know, it's very fascinating. I know some things about bugs. I'm not really crazy about learning about bugs, but it does help sometimes when you're looking at documentation and you can understand. I've read, like I said, I've read the New England Journal of Medicine. I've also read about like their surgeries and things like that. And so when I hear the providers speak, and I'm like, oh, I understand what they're saying now. I know what that means. I know what this means. I know what that means. But all of this education I didn't get from going to the trade school. I got it years later on my own, being dedicated and trying to learn. And so that's all that it takes, is that dedication. And it takes commitment to learn. And you can't get frustrated with it, because it will frustrate you. It will frustrate you in a way that it's going to weed out a lot of people. Okay. So that's something that when you sign up to do this, you can't give up. And it's going to put up a fight, you know, but the reward is that you have a really great career. You know, at least it's really great to me, but then I always say that I'm biased because I am. You know, I really love what I do. I love my providers. I love working with them. And I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, so those are just my thoughts for today. I know it was like, it's short and sweet, but it's true. You don't need a college degree. And many people go their entire careers as medical coders with only one credential. So you don't have to have a alphabet soup after your name. When you do have alphabet soup after your name, it looks impressive, yes. But it is that much more continuing education units that you have to get in order to support all of those credentials. So that's something to consider. And when you're looking for jobs, a lot of times they're just looking for you to have one credential. Okay, so that would be what I would recommend. Having multiple credentials, like I said, is not going to make you get a job any faster, especially if you don't have experience yet. Okay, and if you're brand new, I always recommend only getting the one credential. Some places have their people get two credentials, and that's what they enter the medical coding world with. If that's what you're doing, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying that when you have multiple credentials, you will have to get more continuing education units. So something to consider. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Have you entered my Patreon pledge drive yet? So on my Patreon channel, patreon.com/medicalcodingwithbleu. I do have a pledge drive running this month, and I'm gonna, for every $1 that it's pledged, you get one entry into my drawing, and there are 3 top prizes. There is one 90-minute Zoom session for tutoring or medical coding coaching one-on-one. There's a 60-minute, that's the second prize, and then there's a 30-minute that is the third prize. So I will be drawing those winners on July 30th at 7:30 live on the channel. So I'll be doing a live, something I have not done yet. But yes, so I hope you'll take a gander over at my Patreon channel and check it out. Like I said, I do a lot of exercises, and I do crossword puzzles to help with medical terminology. So, you know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider, or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.